Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of What's Happening Now with CNI Solutions. As always, remember to like, share, and comment on this broadcast live, as there could be some information not only useful to yourself, but useful to others as well, perhaps a friend, neighbor, or a relative. Tonight's broadcast is being brought to us by Hello Guest Screen. Hello Guest Screen offers an easy way to personalize your Airbnb properties, TVs, screens with custom images and dynamic calendar-driven guest information with all the essentials information for them upon arrival. I tell y'all what, I've used Hello Guest Screen not only for here at the center, but I've used it for events, special occasions, reunions, and so forth. Hello Guest Screen is a definite keeper that you should be using if you own a business, doctor's office, an Airbnb, or just a business like CNI Solutions. So a couple of admin things. We just finished up our Renew Ready entrepreneurship program. That went off great. We had the graduation commencement ceremony at Drake State Technical Community College. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. We enjoyed the program. We enjoyed all the participants. There's a lot of new businesses going to be starting here in the Huntsville area real soon, so be on the lookout for them. Tonight in the studio, I got a couple great guests that I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. I'm going to start with my right, your guys' left, and we're going to get down and dirty and talk about some things that I'm pretty certain a lot of us weren't aware of when it comes to breast cancer and breast cancer awareness. So, Miss Marissa, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Marissa Wilson. I'm a native of Huntsville, Alabama, and I am a 1-year breast cancer survivor.
All right. And Derek?
Yes, I'm Derek Cameron. I'm not a native of Huntsville, but I've been here long enough, so you might well call me a native. But I am a 14-year breast cancer survivor.
Outstanding. So as always, we always want to find out, the backstory of everything, because a lot of us is always curious, how does this happen? What's it like? What was your journey like? Marissa, what was your journey like during this time?
I would say 2022 was a year in which I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And a lot of people say, well, how did you find out? Well, funny thing, we talk about social media. I was actually laying at home and it was September, and there was a lady on TikTok saying, hey, check your tatas. So me, just laying around checking my tatas, I felt something a little off. So after checking, I consulted with my OBGYN, and she scheduled a mammogram, scheduled an MRI. And lo and behold, they found a lump not only in my breast, but also it had traveled to the lymph node area under the arm. So after that, after about a few weeks of testing, it was confirmed that I did have breast cancer in my left breast, and as well as it had traveled to my lymph node. So wow. With that, of course, hearing that news, it's initially doom and gloom. It was a month after my dad had passed away, and wow. 2 weeks before my wedding. So, during that time, there was a lot going on. You want to question, why me? And second opinion, I don't believe the doctor was what he's saying, but, going through the process, you immediately want to do doom and gloom. Why me? Why now? But, from there, I went through my treatments. I went through chemo, radiation, and also had a partial mastectomy and a lumpectomy. And I would say, standing here after the treatment a year later, I am cancer-free. I'm currently in remission.
Outstanding. Listening to her, Derek, and her listening to that TikTok saying check herself, is something like that the same for men? Besides the fact, ladies and gentlemen, as Derek's here, I got to tell you all, I'm still astounded that men do get breast cancer. And if it wasn't for this gentleman right here, I would still be blind and ignorant to the fact that I never knew that. So, Derek, tell us a little bit about your story and your journey.
Well, yeah, my story is a little bit similar, but not exactly right, because we typically don't just check ourselves.
Right.
I never had the idea to check myself, but I found mine really in the shower. And it was only because I had bruises from playing sports, whatever, and I kept feeling that bruise, but it kept like it was growing, right? But I let it go for 2.5 months because I was just thinking that it was just a knot. So, I'm not going to really pay it any attention. But when I was in the shower and it kept feeling like it was getting bigger, And then I was able to push it, and it seems like it was moving. That's when I just said I need to go to the doctor, and I went to the doctor, and I had a ultrasound done, and then we did a biopsy, and that's how I found out it was cancer.
Wow. Interesting. We got a question here from one of the viewers. She says, how long did it take for feeling to return to your under your arm where the lymph nodes were removed, or did the numbness never leave?
For me personally, we did have a few of the lymph nodes removed where we thought the cancer to be, had radiation targeted for that area. And honestly, even after a year later, there are still moments of pain and a few moments of numbness. So I don't think it completely went away. It's just more so here or there, you'll feel numbness, but it doesn't 100% go away.
Okay. So earlier, backstage, when we was backstage, ladies and gentlemen, we were talking a little bit, having some table talk. And Marissa, you mentioned something about the post-treatment you still have to go through after, becoming, breast cancer free. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so there are so many different types of cancers. And of course, there's no one shoe fit all. Some people take a pill, some people have surgery, some people have chemo, radiation. So my treatment plan may be different from you and anybody else's. So for me personally, my cancer was estrogen positive, meaning that the estrogen that God put in my body is causing cancer. It's causing my cells to be cancerous or dangerous to me. So I was actually put in a medical menopause to stop the estrogen from flowing. But some of the things people don't know is that even after you go through remission, there are still some post chemo or some post items that you go through. For me, an example, I go through infusions every 3 months because my bones have weakened from the treatment. I also go and take a daily capsule to stop my ovaries from producing estrogen. And I also have to take a monthly 3-month injection also to stop my ovaries from producing. So although you ring the bell and then you're in remission, there are things that still affect you. Even when it comes down to dental procedures, you're having to get approvals and waivers from your cancer doctor just to be able to get simple teeth work done because of the type of medicines that are given post-treatment.
Wow. With that, I'm going to come to you in a minute there. We got another question here. It says, let's see. For each of the guests, what stage were you when diagnosed? Derek, you want to answer that first?
Yeah, I was right there at the edge of stage 1 and 2. So I was right there at the beginning of stage 2 when I found mine.
All right, Marissa?
And for me, I was right at a 2-3 because it had spread it to my lymph nodes. It means it's been there for a while to the fact where it was metastatic and spread it within the lymph nodes.
Okay, all right. Derek, you had mentioned earlier, and we were talking about, treatments and insurance and pills and whatnot. Talk to us a little bit about the cancer insurance that so many of us didn't know about, including myself. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, now these days they offer up additional insurance for cancer, which is just what it is, insurance for cancer, just in case, right? Because essentially nobody knows when or if it's going to happen to them. The reason why I started participating in it was after the fact. The reason why I even considered the after the fact insurance was based because when I was taking medicine during my chemo treatments, half of the medicine that I was taking, I had to pay for out of pocket because my insurance wouldn't pay for it. It was deemed for a woman, so therefore they wouldn't pay for it. So I paid out of pocket.
That is crazy that we can actually have medicine that's gender specific, and an insurance is saying, yeah, we're not paying for that. That's female insurance, female medicine, so we're not going to pay for that. You need to pay for your own. When it's a medicine designed to still help cure you, I tell you what, if they ever decide to do that with deodorant, I'm in trouble because I tell you what, I love my secret. I know it's made for a woman, but I'm telling you right now, that stuff's strong enough for a man, and I'm using that. So that is interesting within itself, though, and I hope viewers out there who are watching sharing this information, because that's something that we need to know about, and maybe that's something we probably need to see if we can get some of those laws changed to whereas the medicine should not be gender specific, especially when you're dealing with cancer. We got cancer; it's going to cure us, it's going to help us. Why is it because it's for women that you're not going to pay for it? So that there is something that I really think we should have our representatives, start looking into, so I'll get the laws changed on that. So let me ask you, gone through your treatment, once you found out that you was diagnosed, and like you said, we're not checking ourselves, we're not doing any of that. How many other males did you encounter that you found that actually had cancer as well?
Cancer?
Well, I should say breast cancer.
Before none. But since then, I've probably met 20 to 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, and during your time, have you ever recognized or knew of any males that you came across that had breast cancer?
I haven't personally, but of course, you know, when you find something new, you research. So research studies show that 1 out of every 100 diagnoses are men being diagnosed with breast cancer. So not prior to having my own journey did I know that it was possible for men to have breast cancer.
Which is actually higher from now when she's done her research to 14 years ago. It was 1 in 1,000.
Oh, wow.
So within the last 14 years, it has gone up.
So well, the question is it going up, or is men now becoming more, I should say, acknowledging the fact that we can get it, and they're doing checks and they're finding out for themselves? Yeah,
it's going up because it's going up. The numbers are going up for women as well. So if you just look at it, cancer as a whole is going up.
Wow. We got a statement here. I think let's see. It says the statement she says, that's insane that insurance wouldn't pay based on gender. I'm surprised that's even legal. Viewer, I agree with you. I'm surprised that's even legal as well. And she's got another question. She says, the late actor Richard Roundtree Shaft was the first male I've ever heard of having breast cancer. Wow, I didn't know Shaft had it.
Yes.
Wow, I did not know that. I tell you what, I gotta stop living up underneath this rock, man, because there's so much stuff going on in the world. I'm oblivious to it that I didn't even know all this stuff. That is amazing. So, what was your like when you first found out? What was it like for you? You know, and how was your family being supportive or not being supportive of you?
I would say for me initially, the shock and awe of hearing like, my God, I am dying. I have been diagnosed with cancer, but you know, you do a lot of self-seeking during that time frame where I fell back on those favorite F's: family, well, faith first, family, friends, and freedom. I would say my journey was a little bit different than most because every situation I approached with cancer, I pulled the silver lining out of it. So, you know, most people will say, you know, you have family, you have kids, aren't you afraid of dying? You know, I thought about, hey, I need to figure out my will. I need to make sure everything's okay. So if I don't survive this, you know, I need to know my family's good to go and I'm no longer here. But I think for me, with my faith and family and being so open, like I even had my journey posted on Facebook and Instagram, every appointment, every chemo treatment, I was very open and transparent with it. And I think just the support from the community and my family is kind of what took me to that next step. So instead of me thinking about, hey, I'm about to go to chemo, I'm thinking about, hey, I'm a mom of 3. I'm going to chemo for 4 hours. I don't have no kids screaming, calling my name. They give me warm blankets and a warm chair, and they give me snacks. I'm on vacation for 3 or 4 hours. So it's all mental what you pull out of it when you're going through this journey. And again, I lost my hair, you know, I lost weight, I gained weight, but it's really about who am I not to be able to go through some of this. I don't think my journey was necessarily doom and gloom. I think mine was more so a testament to, yes, I have it, but I'm not going to let this determine how I live.
Right.
I have control over cancer. Cancer can't beat me. I know who I'll answer to for those who are faith-based. So I think the faith, family, and support of the community kind of took me from there of doom and gloom from the initial report that I have cancer to ringing that bell.
Right. Derek, I'm gonna ask you the same, but I'm gonna ask this because Marissa kind of hit on something. She says, do you believe there is a link between cancer and hair relaxers? You know, between cancer and hair relaxers are preservatives placed in the foods these days.
Oh, yeah.
I would say absolutely. As you know, there was a lawsuit for many of years going out. Like even when I got diagnosed, I guess your name goes into a database. So I had people reaching out to me like, hey, place your claim if you have breast cancer, place your claim. You can be eligible for money. So I think with studies, it has been proven that what we eat and what we put on our bodies does have an impact on us having the chances of increasing the chances of actually having cancer. Okay.
And Derek, what about you? What was it like for you with your support and family or friends, you know, and especially, well, you know, especially from the male side? I want to hear from the male side. What was the males like around you during this time?
Supportive,
Mm-hmm.
really supportive, and intrigued and surprised. But just to follow up with what you were saying, and I love that freedom part. But I thought about it in a different capacity. But my family and friends, my family wanted to be there, and just me being an open book. My family wanted to be there, but I reserved a lot of my conversations with them. I didn't tell a lot of my friends, my true friends. I did tell a lot of my colleagues. I didn't. But essentially, the community was there for me. And even when my friends that I wanted to be there that wasn't there, is as I'm faith-based, God put people in my life that were strangers that actually showed up, and that was even from work, the community, just out and about in the real world of Huntsville. Folks were showing up that I had no clue that they even knew that I was going through cancer. So even though I was kind of alienating my family in certain portions just because of some negativity things that was going on, that my immediate family was there and they wanted to be there. Those that cared, that really had a genuine interest in what I was going through, they showed up. So it's not anything other than me trying to keep a positive spirit while I was going through what I was going through. So I had to eliminate a lot of negativity.
Man, that is awesome. I'm gonna ask a question to you and to the viewers out there, those who are watching. When someone is going through this, as you guys have, is it better to have that open transparency with family so they understand what you're going through, or should they be more reserved how you were in the beginning and not really saying anything?
Well, I would say, it's going to be individual based because, some families can be very overbearing to where you're not able to have your independence and you're not able to do in fear of, you have cancer, you can't do this, you have cancer, you can't do that.
Right.
But the way my family and friends are set up, they empower me. Like, you're not going to sit here and mope. You're not going to sit here like you be normal. Like, this is just, this too shall pass was the motto that we use the entire time. So I don't think I had the ability not to tell my family and friends because we're so closely connected. Like, they can look at me if I'm having a bad day and say, fix your face or what's wrong. So I just think just being open and just having that relationship with my family and friends kind of what got me through it. So I don't see myself not being able to tell them, but everyone's situation is different because, some can be stressors where you I don't tell my family because they're so negative, they're so doom and gloom, and that's going to affect me mentally.
So from the male standpoint, and there's going to be males watching this and they're going to be sharing this with other males, do we tell our male counterparts like, hey, don't try to be that tough guy and tough it out, get help, talk to people like that?
Yeah, I definitely push that now, because I'm an advocate for men going to the doctor because I usually did not want to go to the doctor. So with all of that being said, I definitely push for that. And don't get it twisted. So the point that I wanted to make, and you're absolutely right, because some people are good at what they do as being a friend and a family and a confidant and a caregiver. And some just don't know how to be a caregiver and don't know what to say and don't know what to do. So then they shy away from sickness. That's just human nature. So that's why I really say you got to be careful about who you give information to. And that's why I was very selective about who I gave my information to about my journey. But I did get a lot of support from a lot of men, and they were more inquisitive because one of the hardest things I had to do, because I had a double mastectomy and I choose not to have reconstruction surgery. But one of the hardest things for me mentally was going into a locker room and them seeing my chest for the first time and wondering what men would say, would they think of me any different?
Yeah. Good point. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We got another statement here from one of the viewers, pretty lengthy here. It says, from the date of diagnosis until clean bill of health, I was given how much time elapsed. I was diagnosed on 8 October 2023. I had a series of appointments, biopsies, and what went out throughout October, November. Had a lumpectomy on 1 December. I had 5 radiation treatments, the last one being on the 29th of January, and given a clean bill of health. The entire ordeal, let me see that, wrote it down some more. Ordeal was literally over in 4 months and would have been sooner, but for the holiday schedule break. So from you guys' standpoint, understanding what Ms. Fry went through up there, how long?
I would say for me, I would say I was diagnosed in October 2022, and I didn't finish to around the August, September. So it took about 12 months. And I think that's because of the extent of where it spread it and extending out the number of radiation treatments I had to have and a few other things. So it's not really a calendar within 4 or 5 months, you're going to be completely done. It's pretty much everyone has their own treatment plan, their own team to determine what will be best. Because, some people go through chemo and it doesn't work. So they have to go back to the drawing board with their cancer care team and figure out what's the best solution.
Okay. And Derek?
To that very point, everybody's different. And the unfortunate part is all the research is geared around women. So there is no set ideal for how they're going to treat the man.
Right.
So essentially what they do is it's like a best guess. What we're going to take what limited research that we have, and then we're going to make this treatment for you. So for me, I was diagnosed in December of 2009. I found out like January 5th that it was cancer. So I did my testing, the biopsy in December, got the results in January. I started treatment in February, so it took me about 6 months, but I did an aggressive treatment. I did 16 treatments in 6 months.
All right. I'm going to bring something up, and I know it's going to be controversial amongst the audience and maybe you guys as well, but I'm going to go to this question. It says, how did your spouse was handled if you were married? How did they handle the diagnosis? Were they supportive?
I'd say me. I was a newlywed. Like, I was diagnosed in September, got married in October. Although he was my friend for a decade, I'm just like, oh gosh, I was more in fear of what he thought versus he was just supposed to make sure I was okay.
Right.
So I went from getting small to getting big. I went to lose all my hair, and I'm just like, he's gonna think I'm so unattractive. So I think I was my only critic during this process. My spouse is so supportive. No needs went unmet. Like, I think having that right spouse will help you get over the hump. The kids were taken care of, the house was taken care of, and it was just me getting over me, looking in the mirror and giving myself positive affirmations. Even with the bald head, baby, you're beautiful. I'm just like, what are you looking at? I don't have any eyebrows. So he definitely helped make this thing worth it.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So I wasn't married, and I'm not married. So, but the lady I was talking to at the time was very supportive. And so there was no question there. And then plus, a lot of my friends, and my mother was my caregiver at the time because I had a lot going on, because during chemo treatments, I had an accident where it really incapacitated me for a substantial long period of time. So from being independent to being dependent, and then going through and finishing up chemo treatment was a lot. But like I said, I have family and friends and even people in the community that really stepped up to make sure that I was good and take care of the household while the things that I couldn't do at the house, that they were there to help me out.
Right. So here's my controversial question. Certain medicine has been deemed for females. Could you go in and identify as a female and get that medicine on your insurance?
I don't know, sir. Never really thought about it.
I mean, we got all kinds of identification going on right now for the purpose of you not paying a car note for some medicine. Hey, I identify as Danielle, not Derek. And I'm with my medicine.
So for me, that is not an option. I'm gonna always be Derek. So I chalked it up. And I did what I had to do, and I paid. I'll put it this way: no bill was missed when I had to take on everything I took on during that time. But that comes in preparation.
Right.
Not preparation because I knew I was gonna get sick. that comes from preparation of life.
Right.
So that's something that you should teach your kids.
Right.
That you can't just be out here just throwing away money and this, that, and third. You got to be prepared to have a nest egg. So I was just fortunate, and I thank my mom for putting that in me.
Yeah.
So I didn't think about it. It is what it is. When you're going through what you're going through, it's just like when the day I found out, and I woke up from a nap after telling my mom, because that was the hardest thing I had to do. It was a voice came to me and said, either get busy living or get busy dying.
Mm.
So at the end of the day, I was going to do what I needed to do. And so for men, you do what's put in front of you and you tackle the challenge. You don't have time to figure out or be upset that you're going through something. If you're a man, you're going to literally get something put in front of you, figure it out.
Right,
and
right,
so that's
right.
what I did. I just made it happen.
Right. Outstanding. So we got another, I don't know if it's a statement or a question, it's another lengthy one. It says, I think the earlier it is detected, the quicker the treatment. Mine was in the very earliest of stages, barely detectable. The entire ordeal was surreal. And as I stated, it was over so quickly, and it left me asking, why, God? What was the reason for this? Are you trying to tell me something? And that's kind of like what you was going through. You saying, why me?
Yeah.
You know, why am I getting this?
Yeah.
You know, one thing, you know, every time when we have, or I hear situations like that Ms. Fry was saying there, and you guys, I think back to a sermon my brother had taught years back during a family reunion, and the gist of it, don't quote me and say, oh, Charles missed that up like this, but the gist of it, what he was saying is, and let's just say for the namesake, it was Peter was down in the valley, and God had flooded that valley, and he says, why hast thou forsaken me? And God said, here in this valley, your enemies cannot touch you. You know how to swim, they don't. So when I think about when you say, why me, you know, why did I get this? Well, maybe because you're stronger than what I am, and you could survive this. Whereas if I got it, I would not make it.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. You got something on it. I know. I see it. Go ahead. Your wheels are starting. Go ahead. Let it go.
It's funny that you even said that, because, you know, I asked the question, why me, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget my friend, LaFawn Breland. He told me, because I told him, I said, why me? And he said, you know, Derek, sometimes people go through things not because of something that you did. You might be going through it for us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
And you're the strongest one of us that can handle it.
Oh, yeah.
But it was so many lessons learned by my journey that helped other families.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even think about it like that until he told me. I'll never forget that.
Oh, yeah. And if I can take it to church a little bit.
Go ahead. Take us there.
I just think about a conversation I had with my family, friends, mother. You know, when we are younger, you know, we confess our hope in Christ. You know, God used me any way you see please. So, you know, what's presented to me is you are a vessel.
Yes.
So God used his vessel to take me through something. And like you said, this journey probably wasn't ours, but our journey, if we claim to, you know, love God and we know God as our savior, why wouldn't we give him the glory while we're going through this? A lot of people can't understand or differentiate, you know, saying you're a believer and actually acting in your faith. Yeah. So I think for me personally, that kind of what took me over to continue to, you know, not let this journey get to me, because, you know, people are looking at you. They're looking at your journey. And if you're asking and questioning God, why me? But why not you? Why not you? What makes you so perfect? What makes you so good that you don't have to go through what people did, what God went through? He had to go through some things for us. So I feel like my journey alone, you know, a lot of people reach out to me, it's like, I don't have cancer, but your inspiration, you're on chemo, but you're thanking God for keeping you.
Right.
Your hair's falling out, but I'm crying about X, Y, Z. So, you know, nobody's storm is different, but sometimes God will use his people just to be, you might be the only God that people see. So if you're God's child and you see a non-God believer or non-believer and you're crying, you're down and out, not showing, you know, you trust in that mustard seed of faith, then, you know, I think this whole journey is just how you're walking or how he's walking with you when you're going through every storm of life, whether it's cancer, whether it's finances, mental, whatever it is, just know that no matter what, keep that seed of faith, because you just don't know who's watching.
Right. I agree with you 100% on that. And Derek, you know, kudos to your friend, because I truly believe that you are one of the strong ones for the men, and you are one of those ones that someone will need to come to talk to, because had it been anyone else, they wouldn't be strong enough to strive it. And what was the phrase you said? I'm gonna
get busy living or get busy dying.
Get busy living or get busy dying. I think a lot of them would take the latter and start get busy dying and not actually trying to fight for themselves. We got another question that says, do either of you belong to a support group?
Yeah, several.
He said several.
Yeah. So, after my treatments and everything, I learned about the Bosom Buddies. That was my first one. So shout out to the Bosom Buddies at Clearview Cancer Institute. They meet once a month. I think it's the first Tuesday of every month. And so I started there, and I call them the Golden Girls, but they're very good at accepting you and educating you, and they have a multitude of seminars that they will bring in and educate you on different things. Then let's see, the Can Survive Ministry at Progressive Union. There's Union Chapel. They have a cancer support group as well. And then I started sitting on a couple of boards. Kimberly Fail Jones Foundation. They're great for the community and what they do to help cancer cancer warriors go through what they're going through, as well as survivors. I started helping with Jolanda's Live On Camp. And she has a camp that she's doing to help you cope after the fact.
Right.
So, it's the Live On Journey Camp, where she teaches you and educates you on giving you the tools on having to cope with the after you leave cancer, or after you leave your treatments, and just dealing with everything from the mental state to the physical state, how it takes, like you said, it takes a toll on you. But if you have the right tools, it makes it a little bit easier. So I have several people that I help as part of what gives me as a support group, but then I also participate in support groups as well.
Okay, all right, Marissa.
Well, for me, not elaborate. So for me, I am not in any local support groups. I think the only support groups I've been a part of would be on Facebook. They have a Facebook group from breast cancer for women under 40. I was 36 when I was diagnosed. So that's one group I'm a part of, and I'll be 40 next year. So I'm actively involved in helping women within that age group kind of balance out, moms and small children, and how to cope being so young, being diagnosed with this deadly disease.
And as she mentioned, the support group, and let me get your humble opinions on this. Do you think it is vital for anyone who finds out they're diagnosed to get involved in a support group right then and there?
I don't know. I would say yes and no. So it really depends. For me, let me say it like this and put it in the context. I would say yes if you don't have a support group that's immediately there, as in family and friends. I think it's good because of communication. You need to have some outlet of talking. You need to have some level of outlet of talking. So finding the right support group, I call a support group whatever it is, whether it's your family, your close friends, a parent, a sibling, that is a support group. So it doesn't have to be formalized to be a support group.
Okay, all right.
And I think for me, you also just want to be mindful that if you do first find out, I probably wouldn't necessarily run to a support group, because, support groups will give advice about their treatments and things. So you want to make sure that your actual cancer team, paid professionals, are kind of giving you your pathway first, because a lot of people do offer advice of treatments and what to do. And again, as I said, not one shoe fits all. So you may get some advice that may not necessarily apply to you. So just be mindful of some of the advice that you may take heed to if you do join straight out of the gate.
Okay, all right, good point. So I tell you what, Marissa and Derek, I appreciate you coming here tonight and sharing your stories, and the viewers out there as well, those who have commented and sharing your stories. We do appreciate that, and as always, we don't want to utilize October as the only time that we think about breast cancer or cancer, period. We need to be thinking about this all the time. Like this is just highlighted in the month of October, but it needs to go November, December, January, February, all the way through. Is there anything that you would like to share or talk to the audience before we proceed to close?
Try to keep it short. I would say just know the numbers. 1 out of 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer each year, or 1 out of 8 total. Breast cancer is the top leading cancer death caused by non-Hispanic Black women and Black women. And it's the second leading cancer death of all U.S. women. So the importance of early detection is key. Check your tatas. 75% of women 40 or older are not getting regular mammograms. So I recommend, whether it's a self-exam or you're having your annual, make sure you're checking your tatas, because mine tried to kill me. So early detection is best, and it's a proven number that 98% of women that are diagnosed within the early stage have a 98% of survival rate within the first 5 years, which was 78% back in 1982. So we come a long way. So just be mindful. You're never too young. A lot of people say, my mom, no one had it. You don't have to have a family history. 70 to 80% of people that are diagnosed with cancer doesn't have a family history of it. So just don't wait. Check your tatas. Don't wait till November.
I like how she said her tatas were raging war on her. They tried to kill me.
They tried to kill me.
Derek, do you have anything you would like to share with the audience before we close?
Just to piggyback on your numbers, she's absolutely right, and that's why I say it's on the rise. 10 years ago, it was 1 out of 12 women were diagnosed. 14 years later, is 1 out of 8. For men, it used to be 1 in 1,000. Now it's 1 in 100. All I say is, men, go check yourselves. The biggest for the men, you don't necessarily just have to be checking your breast or your chest. Men got breasts too, but we have more muscle mass regardless of the case. Men, check your PSAs. Check your PSAs. Get your A1C check, and go get your annual checkup. So I encourage men to get their annual checkups and don't be selfish. And the reason why I say that is because you are being selfish if you have anybody that depends on you in any capacity, and you don't go to the doctor, but you expect somebody to help you when you didn't do everything you could have done in the beginning.
Hey, I hope those who are viewing and watching this, please take time to share this, get this message out, because what these two lovely people are saying tonight is facts. And especially what you're saying about going to get checked out, check PSAs, all that stuff. That stuff is very, very important. And we need to all make sure we're taking care of ourselves. And as Marissa said, for y'all ladies out there, check your tatas.
Check your tatas.
Don't let it go by. Don't let it go by. And men, don't get so beside yourself that you're thinking you're above it, because we're not above it. Like this, speak up, talk to somebody, if you need help finding someone, reach out to Senile Solutions, and we'll find you somebody who could help you, and you could talk to them and work with them. Heck, I'm sure I can even get a hold of Derek for you, because he's such a great man and he's doing great things in the community and helping others, because he is that strong warrior. I think someone even put that in a comment, talking about being a warrior in there. So I'm going to put some of these comments up here. I think Miss Gurley says, you both had a test for a testimony. God bless you and continue to share your journey. Miss Cummings got up here. Thank you both so much for sharing your stories with us all. And then, of course, Miss Hunter been on it tonight. Thank you both so much for sharing the stories. So we appreciate you guys who has been chiming in. We appreciate the guests here tonight. We are going to continue to support our community the way we are, and we ask that you guys continue to support the community as well. So as always, remember, your yesterday is not your today, and your today is not your tomorrow. Good night.